If you suddenly found yourself in Westeros with no name, no money, and a sword that probably isn't even that good, would you call yourself a knight? Or would you quietly avoid eye contact and pray no one asks you to prove it? Dunk does the exact opposite. He steps forward, calls himself a knight, and somehow keeps going even when it's very clear he might not be ready for any of this. And that's where Knight of the Seven Kingdoms begins. Not with power, not with destiny. Just one slightly questionable decision that refuses to stay small. At its core, Knight of the Seven Kingdoms follows Ser Duncan the Tall, a hedge knight trying to survive in a world that doesn't really care if he does. It's set about a century before Game of Thrones. A hedge knight sounds respectable until you realize what it actually means. No land, no status, no safety net. Just a name you're trying to build and a constant risk of being exposed. After his mentor dies, Dunk makes a wise choice. He decides to continue as a knight anyway. No ceremony, no proof, just belief. It's bold in a way that almost feels dangerous. Then he meets a young boy, Egg. At first, Egg seems like just a kid who tags along. But the way he speaks, the way he notices things, and the way he understands people, it doesn't quite match. You start to feel it early on. Something about him is off, in a way that makes you pay attention. So now it's not just one man trying to survive. It's two people walking into situations they probably shouldn't be in, and somehow making it worse by doing what feels right. You go in expecting the usual. Chaos, betrayal, someone getting taken out mid-conversation. Instead, the story slows down, and somehow that makes everything feel heavier. Now you notice the pauses, the looks people give each other, the way a simple conversation can shift into something tense without warning. There are no constant distractions, no giant battles pulling your attention away. It's just people making choices they can't take back. And that quiet tension, it builds. You start to realize that this isn't about who wins or loses a war. It's about who someone chooses to be when things get uncomfortable. Dunk isn't impressive in the way you expect. He's not the smartest person in the room. He doesn't always understand what's happening around him. Half the time, it feels like he's figuring things out as he goes. But when something feels wrong, he doesn't look away. Which, in Westeros, is a very dangerous habit. Even when ignoring it would be easier. Even when it would keep him safe. And that's where things start to shift. Because now it's not about whether he's a real knight by title. It's about the choices he makes when no one is forcing him to act. You find yourself thinking he should just walk away, that it's not worth it, that it's going to cost him. And it does. Turns out, doing the right thing is a great way to ruin your own life. Egg could have easily been just a side character, someone to lighten the mood, someone to follow along. But he doesn't stay in the background. He questions Dunk, challenges him, sees things Dunk misses. And the more you watch, the clearer it becomes that Egg understands the world in a way that doesn't match his age. There's something behind it, something bigger. Their relationship grows in a way that feels natural but important. Dunk is trying to figure out what being a knight really means. And Egg is constantly pushing him to think about it more deeply. They're not just traveling together, they're shaping each other. The tournament that the show builds towards in the first 3 episodes becomes a turning point for Dunk's character. It was earlier a chance for Dunk to prove himself, maybe even gain some recognition. But this is Westeros. Nothing stays simple for long. What starts as competition slowly becomes something else. Pride gets involved, reputation gets involved, and suddenly, one moment changes everything. Dunk sees something he knows is wrong, and now he has a choice. He can stay quiet, protect himself, and move on. Or he can act and deal with whatever follows. He acts with his fists. And that's when the real Westeros shows up. The Seven Kingdoms, known for power, treachery, and murder. What follows are some of the best episodes of primetime television, but most importantly, a masterclass of storytelling and character building. Dunk has to now participate in an ancient custom called a Trial of Seven, a battle against the royal blood, where he has to kill or be killed. The lone knight managed to get support from some brave men who chose to fight beside him, but more than that, they chose to fight against a Targaryen prince. But choosing a side in Westeros has a funny way of getting people hurt, and each choice says something about who they are. For Dunk, this is the moment where he understands the reality of what it means to stand for something when it actually costs you. So in the end, the show leaves you with a question. If you were in his place, with no power and nothing protecting you, would you stay quiet and survive? Or would you speak, knowing exactly what it might cost you?